Hello, everyone. It is Ayana, and I am live this week from my car. Okay. Now, I am in motion, so that's what's happening right now. So I thought I'd do a quick video from my car. And this week's video is all about a mental health perspective on abortion. So first things first, before we get started on that, I'm in my car. As you can see, I'm in motion. My daughter is getting her hair done. So I am being supportive mom and taking a few quick minutes to come out here. And I just wanted to record this week's video on what's happening in the world. Often I come with a quote, I come with, some type of productivity. But this week, the stuff in the information that's been going on in the news around abortion restrictions in states has me down, and it has a lot of people down. And so I wanted to speak about that today. Now, if you are not familiar with me, I am Coach Ayana, and what I do is I help people who are feeling negative and having a negative mindset. I help people overcome the negative self-talk, the negative thoughts in their head that are slowing them down and stopping them from pursuing the life that they want. And I help them turn that around so that they have a positive mindset, positive self-talk for better happiness, better health, better mental health, better well-being, and to feel empowered so you can go after, almost dropped my phone. Go after your goals and dreams, okay? Because you deserve it, okay? So if you ever need to check in, please reach out. I'm here to support. So just, real quickly, let's talk a little bit more about what happened this week. And I was going to do a video right after it, but I was so sad and emotional, and I needed some time to process. And I think a lot of us are kind of processing all of the changes that are going on. When I was born in this country, abortion was legal. And that was a battle that was hard fought and won for a certain time in the 70s. And, and I was born in the 80s. And so I took for granted a world in which abortion existed. And, I think what's going on in the world today is that I hear a lot of people painting abortion as this evil baby killing experience. And just so we can talk about the mental health perspective that takes. I'm first going to talk about what the science says, and then I'm going to talk about how this affects us, right? And what we can do about it. So first things first, when it comes to abortion, right? If you look at all of the research, the vast majority of research by credible doctors says that, that abortions are taking place when the fetus is not viable, right? So this is long before a fetus could live on its own and be a baby, right? So what is happening is that if you look at all of the research, and I looked at a Pew study, Pew is a very reputable source that is peer-reviewed and all that, but the studies say that the vast majority of abortions, 93%, happen in the first trimester. So that's in the first 12 weeks of a pregnancy, okay? Is it 12 or 16? First 12 weeks of a pregnancy. Okay, so that's the first 3 months. Now, anybody who's been pregnant before, I've been pregnant 3 times now. Anybody who's been pregnant before knows that, first things first, people don't even really know they're pregnant most often until earliest 4 weeks. And, 6 weeks and 8 weeks is extremely common. So for people to have so it's a very, very early time in pregnancy. And there is a lot that is going on, but it is a cluster of cells at that point. So the vast majority of abortions are happening very early on. So when people just say to you that it is baby killing, the science just does not bear out on that. And what's happening right now is that it really feels like what's happening in this country is that there's a lot of control that is happening. If abortion is uncomfortable for you, and I can tell you this, I've had an abortion before in my life, and it was a tough decision for me. But the thing about everyone's pregnancy is that it is their own and their own experience. Now, I was coming out of a very unhealthy relationship. Very, there was abuse and all types of stuff, and it was not a good situation. And to have a baby in that circumstance would have not been good, right? And there are plenty of other women who have similar experiences, or, who are just not in a financial situation to be able to take care of a child. And we live in a country, unfortunately, that doesn't provide a lot of support. So when people make these decisions, number one, it's not lightly, right? A lot of critics of abortion will say, they treat it as though people are just, taking it, are acting as though it's like a trip to the grocery store, right? Or it's a trip to, I don't know, something else, right? But it's not taken lightly. It is taken very seriously. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. And it's not a pleasant experience, but I'm very glad that I had that option, because the alternative, in a society that, number one, I wasn't in a financial space to take care of a child. And in a country that does not provide a lot of support for working parents in the same way that they do in a lot of European countries, it would have been extremely hard and struggling. And who knows, the kind of life that child would have had, right? But not only that, they would have been, born into an abusive environment, right? So so there are all types of reasons why people have abortions, and everyone's situation is unique and it's hard fought. It is a hard decision, but when people make that decision, also the research bears out that the vast majority of people are glad they had that option. And I don't regret it. And I'm a mom today, and I understand, the beauty of a wanted pregnancy, of a pregnancy where you feel safe, where you feel as though you want to bring the child onto the earth, that that you can provide it everything that it needs and deserves to thrive and grow. And so if our mental health is not in there in the pregnancy, bringing a child onto the planet that is going to suffer is also not a great option. And we have to be able to have these conversations. We have to be able to think of it from that lens and from that perspective. And so again, the research bears out that the vast majority are happening early on. Now, I've heard a lot of conservatives who will say, well, late-term abortion and killing a baby. And the vast majority, again, 93% of them are happening earlier on. And for those that are happening in later on in the pregnancy, the vast majority of those situations are caused by health problems, or where the mother's life might be at risk or in danger, or where the fetus actually dies anyway. So the vast majority of those are not happening just because people are just like, well, I changed my mind, right? That just doesn't happen late in pregnancy. Moms, women who are pregnant, they start to bond to the child after a certain amount of time, after it gets to a place where it's more viable. So it is, so there's just a lot of misconception and myths and misunderstandings about that whole process that I wanted to clarify and clear up. And just, on the mental health tip, how does this affect us? Well, I can tell you how it's affecting me. It makes me feel controlled. It makes me feel belittled. It makes me feel like a second-class citizen. And already as a Black woman, I mean, already, right? There's enough that I have on my plate. But I can tell you, I can't speak for all women, but I can say for me and my experience, what I'm hearing is that it feels a very condescending experience. There are some female proponents of these laws that are punishing women for getting abortions and punishing them for going out of state and locking them up and doing all of these draconian things. But it makes me feel very scared, because it makes me feel controlled. It makes me feel less than, because I don't have agency over my own body. I am not viewed as mentally capable enough of making a decision for my body, that a male who has no idea what it'll ever feel like to be pregnant, that these bodies that are largely controlled by men who will never have this experience. And it makes me feel out of control, right? It makes me feel helpless, out of control. And really, it makes me feel like we're in a police state. This ruling that says that, luckily I'm in a state in California where I don't have to worry about that so far, but I know that people are actively working to even take away these rights somehow here. All of these people who fight for states' rights, I don't know. So we don't know, but they're actively trying to make it a federal thing. So we'll see where that goes. But these states that are penalizing people for going out of state to get their abortion as well, it's horrible. It's terrifying. And it makes me feel like a heightened sense of anxiety and worry and stress and anger and all of the emotions. And I just feel terrible for everyone who's in this situation, who has to deal with this. And I just want to send my love and my heart and my empathy to everyone who is in a state where you are dealing with this and where you have to fight for this. And and one of the things that we can do, and this goes back to, my feelings on affirmative action, the video that I did around that, but some of the things that we can do to take care of ourselves, we have to take care of ourselves in this time. The number one thing we can do is to take care of our mental health, because if that goes, then everything else goes. So the first thing we have to allow ourselves to do is to feel our feelings honestly. The second thing that we have to do is we have to do the things that we need for self-care. We have to not stop taking care of ourselves. We have to, keep doing those things that make us feel good, right? So for me, I enjoy watching Netflix. When I need to escape, it's something that helps me out a lot. Reading books that give me pleasure, right? Talking to people about my feelings. But being honest with yourself about how you feel, taking care of yourself sometimes we feel like taking care of ourselves is selfish, especially with everything going on. No. Our mental health is the most important gift we can give ourselves and any organizing that we might want to do. Then the third thing, once we've done 1 and 2, being honest with our feelings, talking to someone about them, getting therapy, talking to people that we love and trust, and also doing things that make us feel good and better, pausing the news, right? Going for walks, being in nature. Then we can also, too, organize, right? There's so many causes that are fighting back and against this. And I wish I had a whole list of them. But look them up, Google them. And you can reach out if you're in the California and in the Bay Area. I have some as well. Get on email lists so that you know what's going on, so you can be a part of action. Because I'll tell you this: when you feel as though you are part of a force that is fighting back, it makes you feel so much better. And I'm sorry, I keep dropping my phone. My arm is getting tired, but it makes you feel so much better about what's happening. It makes you feel as though you are not helpless in this fight. And when you see other people who also feel the same way as you, there's something extremely therapeutic about that. I've been a part of numerous women's marches around these issues, and just seeing the quantity of women and men and people, in all genders represented fighting for this issue made me feel very loved and seen and cared for. And that is such a powerful, powerful feeling. And so I hope that all of you feel, that all of you do what you need to do to take care of your mental health, because you deserve it. And with that said, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful week, okay? Everyone take care. Do what you need to do for you. Bye. And go support a cause. Go show up if you can. But otherwise, if you can't, donate. Donate, donate, donate. Okay? You got this, everyone. Take care.